I want to talk about my story and why I'm creating this course and why I want to spread the knowledge of this type of practice. So for over 5-6 years, I've been an entrepreneur. I built a couple businesses that were pretty successful, but I was very miserable. I was very stressed. I didn't feel like I was living my purpose, and I didn't feel like I was really passionate about anything anymore because I had lost myself, who I was. I was completely disconnected from myself, and I just felt depressed, frustrated, stressed out, and so on. So I had a couple instances where I had these dreams where some very close family members of mine and friends passed away. Grandpa passed away when I was on a trip to Spain, and he lived at the time in Mexico. And I was dreaming. I felt this feeling of desperation. I didn't know. I felt like I was dying. And so the following morning, we get the news that he had passed. And so there was a big realization. Not only was it sad, but it was a big realization that I wasn't seeing everything that there was to see in reality. I also I had another dream that I recorded. Actually, this one I did record. I record my dreams on my phone. And at 5 a.m. I wake up and I had dreamt for the first time, to my knowledge, of one of my partners. I was doing wine tours, and one of my partners, one of the winery owners, I saw him kind of with his brother in kind of this field full of different like crosses, like tombs, right? Or burial grounds or something like that. And that was at 5 a.m. By 11 a.m. I get this text that he had passed away. And so that was not only shocking to me in terms of having someone like that pass away and me seeing it beforehand, but like I was missing so much of the spectrum in terms of life, in terms of myself and energy, different levels of things. And I was like, what the hell am I doing with my businesses, right? Am I actually fulfilling my purpose? And so that's why I went on this journey of really, I started going to Mexico, actually. I live in the US, and I started going to Mexico to just be by myself, and all I would do was meditate and practice lucid dreaming, literally all day. I would eat, maybe I walk to the beach in Mexico and that kind of stuff, but I would do this for about a month and a half. And again, all I was doing was having lucid dreams and meditating, and I had a few realizations that I'm going to share with you later on in this program. But the pinnacle of this, where I realized that I had really landed on something that was incredible, was when I came back from doing those practices, and I went to watch a movie with a friend of mine at the theater. And as I go to the bathroom, I had an out-of-body experience while I was just awake. So I had an experience which now, at the time I didn't know what it was, but now from just kind of investigating, I realized that it was me snapping into the witness state of mind, which I am also going to cover in this program. But basically, I saw everything almost from a third-person perspective. I began to disidentify with myself. All the fears that I had, social fears in life, worries, stresses, they kind of just dropped. It was almost like the Matrix when Neo sees all those little numbers. I saw that as kind of my thoughts. I didn't see the illusion anymore. I just saw the thought patterns that were not really me anymore. They were just something that were trained into me or conditioned in me. And so that lasted for about 30 minutes, that experience, that level of consciousness and that state of mind. The lesson and the way of being, lasted for a while. And it's still to this day, as I'm doing the practices right now, as I'm creating this course, I'm back in that state. I'm into that state more and more. And so that made me realize that I had stumbled upon something amazing. I began to be able to manifest faster and at a much larger scale. I was no longer an obstacle to myself. All these different things were no longer a blockage, because I had unraveled the mystery, if you will, of the different levels of consciousness. And it was a process. I mean, that specific event happened like a snap, if you will. It just snapped into it. But it was a process of realizing different things, of seeing different patterns from, maybe even resentments that I've had with family members and different things like that. But it was a process that led me into that state of mind, as well as to those realizations that I'll be sharing with you. And so it didn't happen overnight per se, but I was very committed to it. I mean, for the month and a half, all I was doing, besides my work with the wine tours and my businesses, was simply lucid dreaming and meditating, as I mentioned. As this happened, the dream world began to mesh more and more. And again, as a process, it wasn't like that snap moment that I mentioned a minute ago of the witness state, but more and more they began to mesh together. And to the point where I became less and less fearful of my waking life, meaning less worried about things, what are things going to happen, and so forth and so forth. Even socially, there were a lot of social fears dropped away because I began to see my reality more as a dream, which not to use play on words or any puns, but which in reality, it's more of the truth. We live in the dream world. We live out of projections and filters. That's how we live. We actually, most of the time, we don't experience reality for what it is. And so that is what happened to me beyond the witness state. I began to see reality more for what it was. More of me experiencing it as a dream, as it really is, to wake up from it and begin to be more in the moment. And so that is my story. And so I really wanted to create this course to hopefully inspire more people to gain this level of understanding, this level of consciousness. My goal is to help others wake up and to live a more fulfilled life, as well as to be more compassionate with each other and just have more fun. Have more fun in your dreams, have more fun in your waking life, and enjoy life more. So that is my hope with this course, and that is my hope for you as well. So thank you for joining again. I'll keep thanking you, but yeah, I'm very excited.